Hey Virgos, and welcome to your March 2018 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky here to give you guys hopefully another amazing reading for your month ahead. I've missed you guys. I have had many Virgo friends and family in my life, but I haven't been able to be around you very much lately, which is interesting because I just had Saturn move into my 6th house personally, and I feel like I have so much to learn from you guys. I love Virgo energy, and as I've become very busy and have been nurturing a lot of projects at once, I've had to like step into this extremely productive mode. Again, with Saturn having moved into my 6th house, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what Virgos have to deal with. Like, I have had to like up my production, my organization. You guys, I have like my planner has never looked like this before. Like, it is overwhelming, but it's also a nice sense of accomplishment. And I'm just really happy to be here getting into your energy because I think that I have a lot to learn. And you guys should comment below how you sort of work with Virgo energy in your own way, from the perspective of you. How do you guys go about productivity? How do you guys stay organized without like getting overwhelmed? Because I sense that overwhelming energy is very present in Virgo's life right now, as I've sort of had a new view into Virgo energy ever since I had Saturn go into my 6th house. And I think that that ends for you here in March, where you learn how to be more productive, you learn how to be more outlined and organized in a way that's not feeling like a hassle or like you're battling with yourself. So that's a big thing for Virgo this month, is the battle with self and the overwhelming experience of your purpose, your ambitions, the things outside of you in life, versus how you continue to feel calm and easy within yourself. The Death card has returned for you guys, as well as the Hermit, 3 of Wands, Page of Swords. I think death has come up for you, Virgo, more than any other sign in my readings throughout the last year, throughout all of 2017. And I'm not surprised to see it here, but at the same time, I feel for you because this is a hard time to be so acclimated towards endings and so acclimated towards release. It's very natural right now. We are in Pisces time, which is the last sign of the zodiac. It represents the ultimate release, the ultimate transition and transmutation of our life force into a new realm. It is also your opposite sign, Virgo. So it's very emphasized in you, and in a way I feel like with other signs it would be easier to have that, because I think it's been harder for the other signs to let go. So perhaps like the death archetype would do them very good in enforcing that. But I think that there could just be a very overwhelming sense of how much can I truly let go of. When throughout this purging process am I letting go of myself? A lot of Virgos, I feel, have felt that they've let themselves go, or feel that they have lost a part of themselves somewhere, feeling very betrayed by your body, feeling very betrayed by your guides or your path, when in reality what comes here is something so much more wholesome than you've ever perhaps seen before in your life. It still doesn't numb or mute the pain of every situation in every sector being a battle in the way that it is right now. And there are some Virgos who I feel have overcome it, some of you who kind of live in the future, who are kind of in a different offset of life, and you're kind of in 3 of Cups mode there, and the Lovers, and 3 of Wands to an extent. I have mixed feelings on 3 of Wands. To me, it's kind of like not the most positive energy, but more on that when we get there. So some of you, I feel, are like listening to this very calmly, have done it, and they're like, yeah, I feel for the Virgos who are still there. So some of you have overcome, and I'll try to sort of tailor this reading for both sides. But entering straight into March, Virgos, the crossroads, the solitude, and the endings. What would you attribute in like the last year of your life, from like March 21st of 2017 to now? What do you identify with those things? Where were your biggest crossroads? Where were your biggest endings? Where was your most seething sense of solitude? And once you've kind of identified those things, Virgo, I want you to kind of sit with yourself and kind of sew together energetically, how do these things become my biggest windfall? How do I string or weave this pain and this decalibration, sense of almost terminal inability to thrive, into a foundation and almost what I see is like a safety net, like you're walking on a tightrope, and your experience of these endings, of this solitude, of these crossroads, become your safety net beneath the tightrope, but you won't even need it because you're going to get to the other side. So kind of feeling in the middle, kind of feeling a bit voided, feeling a bit scared that the fall is going to happen. And maybe it's too dark to see that there is a safety net there, but there is, Virgo. You've already done it. You've already done it. You've already created the safety net. And the battle with yourself, this sort of inner conflict with Five of Wands reversed, is the only thing that threatens you and can make you imbalanced in the way that you actually have to use the safety net. But it's there, Virgo, and I think that you are extremely powerful with it. I'm going to get into the week to week to kind of elaborate more on this entire idea. But anyway, from the first week, Virgo, you have Death rooted down by Five of Wands reversed, which obviously denotes a strong transformation of how you battle with yourself, or a strong transformation with your inner conflicts. Those are still reversed, so I think that there can be a tendency to over self-analyze or to be overly self-critical, and I think that it stems probably from not being able to get the confrontation with people that you needed it from. So some of the relationships I feel that you had which ended too quickly, and the lack of closure within those relationships is very tied in to this hyper sense of self-conflict and this difficulty with establishing like a healthy self-boundary as well, because I think that you might be just replaying a lot of these scenes from your past, or even sort of generating a lot of possibilities of what would have happened if you would have stayed with somebody, and how where you would have been like 6 months after that, like really generating these sort of like fictional experiences in your head that ultimately makes you very conflicted with yourself and like upset that you can't like have control over your mind. That changes. I feel like that by the end of the month is over and done, because I think that's a lot of what you let go of. Again, being able to do that self-pruning like I've been talking about so long now for Virgos. And I'm going to say that every single time the Death card comes up in your reading, Virgo. Again, you are such mutable earth energy that you have to be able to adapt to your growth as a person. You have to be able to, you know, grow out the limbs or the foliage. And when it dies, you've got to be able to cut it off so that you can continue to grow again. That constant adaptive state to your own growth is where Virgo thrives. In the second week, you have Three of Cups rooted down by the Lovers. So this is beautiful. I think maybe you can even really get past a lot of this deeper, difficult experience in the first week, because it feels like you're celebrating something in the second week, and straight through that celebration process generates itself another crossroads. And the energy of crossroads, Virgos, is that they kind of all lead back to the same place, and that same place that they all kind of lead back to is you and yourself. So as long as you're not trying to escape from something that's within you, as long as you're not trying to get away from what you yourself already have, the Lovers will never be difficult and the crossroads will never be hard. But the issue comes when you're uncomfortable with yourself and feel like when you're by yourself, or when you're in solitude, when you're in hermit mode, that this is like what we need to be trying to avoid. And you will. I feel like you'll get a lot of relationships this year and have a lot of new soulmate connections, especially through, though, actually wanting to come back to yourself, because a lot of people realize that oftentimes when we attract the most transformative relationships of our lives, we're not very desperate for it, right? It oftentimes comes when we don't need somebody, or we feel like we don't need somebody. So third week, Virgos, Page of Swords rooted down by Page of Pentacles, options, and Page of Wands right there is your central theme too. So straight through these kind of like overwhelming experiences of transformation and crossroads in the first 2 weeks of March, automatically you've generated about 3 people who could be soulmate energy, also friend energy, just like spirit tribe energy. I feel very young energy, youthful air, fire, and earth energy. So the only thing that's lacking is water, and you don't really have much water energy. I mean, you have Three of Cups, but to me that's not really like too watery compared to some of the other Cups cards. I mean, of course it's water, but it's not like a deep experience of water to me. So I feel the answer to being able to choose between these people, or being able to understand these people, is to find their depth, or to find the missing piece of their experience, because that's an interesting ability that Virgo has gained recently, is being able to find other people's missing things, or other people's missing experiences or pieces. You can kind of be the puzzle solver that people have needed for a really long time. So in that way, people gain a lot of attachments to you. And I think with the equinox coming through right during that time, you are suddenly attached to a lot of people, or a lot of people want at least to be very attached to you, because you give them something that they've not been able to have in a long time. And this may be what you've always wanted, Virgo, but beware that this type of thing makes you feel that you might be a bit objectified, or like your people aren't liking you for you, but they're liking you for what you give them. in essence, it's sort of like narcissism. They're only liking what they're seeing about themselves when you're there. Okay, so beware of that and try to not get too discouraged with it. Fourth week, Three of Wands, rooted down by the Hermit. Again, try to not be too discouraged because those are very solitude-oriented cards as well. It's kind of like a switch back and forth throughout this month where, you have the transformation, you have solitude, then you have celebration and crossroads, then you have solitude, then you have suddenly many attachments, then back to solitude. So it's like back and forth. It's hard to really decide in this month, I feel, for Virgo. And I actually think that you thrive from that Page of Wands reversed as your central theme. It's like the adaptability. Again, that's an adaptability card as well. To me, it's like mutable fiery energy and your mutable earth. So you learn something about adaptability and conformity in this month. And through that fourth week, like accepting that you are protected in your solitude and that you can be your biggest supporter, your biggest ally, not being too discouraged about the people who have turned their back on you, because I think that's where Virgo struggles the most, is when they get hyper and analytical about people who are no longer there. Sometimes when people are available, you don't care that much, but when they're gone, suddenly you care. Try to see that and try to shine the light there with the Hermit. Try to put the lantern in that part of your own court where you're interested in things when they're no longer interested in you. So ultimately, Virgos, don't think too deeply, though. And these readings are a little bit shorter this month because I think that with Pisces time, things are very undefinable. Neptune is there. Many things are there. It's kind of like a water trine type of month. So most of our self-expansion should be kind of done on our own. I hope I've been able to provide something of slight insight to you guys, because April I will have a bit of a change in format, and also we'll be probably getting much deeper there. So anyway, if you guys thought this reading was resonant, you can book a private reading with me in the center of your screen. Also, you can check the playlist to see your 2018 year ahead video, and your subscribe, likes, and comments make my day. I'm on Instagram and Twitter. All of that's in the description box. Much love and light.